Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the finest Dawn of War Ultimate Apocalypse cast, this side of your short chair. And today we've got a 1 vs 1 on Fatamorga. On the other side, as the Space Marines, we've got Demi. On the other side, as the Chaos Space Marines, we have got Stranger. Stranger will be opening up with a couple of cultists, a plasma generator and a Chaos Temple. Whereas Demi is going to go for triple scouts, a servitor, plasma generator and a chapel barracks. So we are, Chaos Space Marines and Space Marines going at it once again on the sandy shores of Fatamorga. In this current patch of Ultimate Apocalypse, this does seem to be one of the more favoured 1v1 scenarios, as it is just quite a belter. You've got very similar factions who are, they've got quite a lot of parallels in Tier 1, and as the game goes on, they diverge quite drastically, and plenty of heavy infantry to go toe-to-toe with each other in this long, kind of like a slog fest of just big boys, slowly but surely whittling each other down, having to reposition and change out their weapons. Now, I do believe that this is going to be possibly one of the last games that we're going to have on this version of Ultimate Apocalypse, mainly because the guys who tend to play quite a lot have been playing a lot of the test version, so we might be going on to that in the coming weeks or so, depending on how things go in the near future. And yeah, you know what? I know that not everyone's been a big fan of this current version of Ultimate Apocalypse, but I certainly have. I do like the idea that infantry don't die more or less straight away the moment they come across anything that is a higher tier than them, that everything scales a little bit better as the games go on. Definitely a fan of that, and I hope that they've either maintained that or they've expanded on it a little bit more in the coming versions. Anyway, the game is afoot, things are happening, the scouts are running away from the Chaos Space Marines 3-on-3. We've also got some more lads coming in over here. The Chaos Space Marines do have a slight advantage in Tier 1 as they are able to get the heavy bolters and such when, heavy bolters and also an aspiring champion with just a singular Chaos Armory, whereas the Tactical Marines need to get a Tier 1/2 to get their sergeants and heavy bolters as well. So definitely a potential for a higher tier of Chaos Space Marines as the game gets under. That does require a Stranger to invest more in Tier 1, Tier 0/1, if he wants to, gain that benefit. Cultists will fall down pretty quickly, though, to any kind of fire that's incoming from them. However, they are able to reinforce themselves remarkably quickly. So definitely need to keep that in your head. I don't think you've actually gone for a particular mark of chaos at the moment. Probably going to wait till seeing what's going to happen later on. We have seen Khorne and Nurgle being used in a Chaos Space Marine versus Space Marine kind of fight. These lads attempting to retreat as the Space Marines go to cut off their retreat path. Yeah, I mean, obviously Khorne makes you do more damage. Nurgle makes you hold the line more. And, combine that with some Chaos Icon Bearers, both inside the squad and then attaching them from the outside as well. You can build them outside of the squad as well as inside, which I don't know if that makes sense, but you can, here, look, you can do it here, but you can also build them in the sacrificial circle and then walk them over and attach them like an actual commander. I hope that makes sense. I think I'm communicating in English. I could be. Maybe I don't know, doing some sort of Charlie Brown parent talk. Either way, some close combat firefights going on. And as I mentioned, these heavy infantry models take a while to bash down. Currently no weapon upgrades for anyone at the moment. Chaos Space Marines will get involved into close combat, but they don't do much more damage. In fact, they do one less, according to the numbers down below. So no advantage on the close combat side of things, but they do have the number advantage if they focus down on one squad. So that is something, question mark. Would that help them? I don't know, but either way, they're being pushed back by the loyalists, running straight down the middle as their cultists attempt to capture the critical location on the right hand side and on the left. Oh, sorry, this is the right hand side, this is the left hand side. That's how your lefts and rights work. At least that's how I think, sir. I suppose left and right is all about perspective. It's left or right somewhere in the world. Now falling back to the protective fire of the listening post, which will massively help them in a defensive capacity, but Demi is taking no prisoners. He's trying to get these guys up in a corner for reasons beyond my ken. Here comes a couple of frag grenades as well, and also Chaos Lord. Definitely overstaying his welcome here, losing 3 models, which reinforcing at a grand old cost of 90 blue. In the early stages of a game, that is quite considerable amount of material been lost in engagement. Got an extra squad of Tactical Marines over on the upper side there. So got potential to replace these lads. Chaos Lord keen to get some blade swipes in there, making sure that the Tactical Marines are on the move while the Chaos Forces move on forward. They do now have access to their heavy bolters and their aspiring champions. Not sure, have you got a plasma pistol on your boys yet? No, not at the moment. You've got it for your Chaos Lord, but not your aspiring champions. The aspiring champions in Ultimate Apocalypse, they gain their upgrades from the Chaos Armory, whereas the Chaos Lord can get his own weapon upgrades from a little menu down below. Grenade's been thrown. Call the Weak, or whatever you call that ability, activated. Purge the Weak, maybe. Increase the overall damage output. Increase the damage taken. Always risky to pull that off when you've got even kind of troops on either side, but that Chaos Lord definitely reducing the damage output by tying these guys up in close combat. Now going to turn their attention to the Listing Post, which is about to finish it, upgrading itself, which you might want to cancel that, actually. And he's going to attempt to hold the line with him. I don't think that is a fair trade to make. No, Listing Post will go down. They have upgraded this Listing Post on the right-hand side as well, so maybe something around to defend there. Servitor coming out. Ah, they are in tier 1/2, so Machine Cult has been, well, it's about to be built. Also, plenty of plasma generators. Interesting that they've built the plasma generators around Listing Post, and also the, you're not within base-to-base contact with the, are you in base? No, you're not, so really. So these plasma generators, if you are unfamiliar, which I'm sure a lot of you are, but essentially, in Ultimate Apocalypse, your plasma generators, you build them next to a building, and that will make you build things quicker and get your research quicker. Generally, you'll see players build up a couple of plasma generators near their HQ, so taking up is a little bit quicker. Or you will see them build them next to their Listing Post, so it increases the amount of requisition income for them. We are seeing a couple of loose plasma generators here that are not really committing to anything at the moment, which a big question mark from me. Double frag grenades knocking around these Tactical Marines, preventing them from running away. Now got the plasma pistols on the aspiring champions. And the plasma weaponry is just a concoction of badness for heavy infantry. Also got Flamer on these lads as well. On the other side, the scouts have done a good job at least securing this critical location. Space Marines have managed to escape, but losing a fair few of their number. Now have a Hellfire Dreadnought. Not the best counter to anything, really. It's a kind of like a jack of all trades. But that's alright. It's got the vehicle armor, which the Chaos Space Marines don't have anything to make use of at the moment. Especially since they've gone for heavy bolters rather than anything else. And I suppose you're going to go for a second. Yeah, we're going to go for a second one as well. And the missile launcher on this will also happily counter any kind of Chaos vehicles that are outcoming. Cultists spot the scouts and take care of them very quickly. Feral plasma generator being disco balled up by Stranger here. Current economy is 146 and 53 for the Space Marines. 58, sorry, if I can read numbers. Compared to 195 and 48. Soon to being a bit bigger, but they've managed to... Oh no, the Cultists still alive. We've got 88, so a lot of money for the Chaos. And using their Call the Wake to scare away the Space Marines, but Hellfire Dreadnought, unmovable. Will attempt to build up a machine pit, but a little bit too close to that Hellfire Dreadnought. He's like, just ignore me. I'm only little. And you know what? Oh, for a second I thought I was about to ignore him. I was going to say that was awfully polite of you, but not the Hellfire Dreadnought. It's just not that way inclined. And now the pizzeria of the machine pit is left to just float in the air. As the Hellfire Dreadnought's opened fire, we do have some Havoc Marines there, all coming out with missile launchers. And a couple of shots, and a chunk of damage shaved off right there. Now, the question for unit compositions here. Do the Loyalist Space Marines keep on with the Hellfire Dreadnoughts, which it does seem that they are. They've gone for a third one. Relatively cheap, all things considered, as a vehicle option. Considering for what they bring to the table. As I say, they give you a little bit of damage to all sorts. But then you've got to watch out for those Havoc squads. Now you can go for some Assault Marines to jump on top of them and tie them up, but then you've also got these lads that will break them down pretty quickly. You maybe go for a Whirlwind to fire at these guys from a distance, just to knock them down. Yeah, triple Hellfire Dreadnoughts. Now, have you got a sword attached to you? You do have a sword. That's pretty cool. Didn't know you had different models in Ultimate Apocalypse. Your Dreadnoughts. Well, I suppose there we go. Yeah, Devastators. You can also just, as Space Marines, mirror the build and unit composition of the Chaos Space Marines, but just try and do it better. These Tactical Marines have been sent pretty far, pretty quickly. And, yeah, one squad over here capturing the critical location, which I can see why you've done that, but why then commit to the bit if you've not committed all your forces? So many times in this current iteration of Ultimate Apocalypse, Chaos Space Marines versus Space Marines, we do see that you can't really go for multiple pronged attacks. You essentially just see these large armies smush faces with each other over and over again, gradually taking territory and gradually being pushed back over and over again. And the past, I think it was, maybe we've seen about maybe 3 or 4 matchups like this on this very map itself, and it usually ends up as a push either on this side or this side. You don't see many going on in the centre, mainly because I imagine there's just wider spaces. You need to spread out your boys a bit. You don't really want to tie them up in these narrow choke points. But we do have a chaplain, which is definitely a major boon for the loyalist side of things. He has got such a remarkably larger health regeneration aura around him in comparison to your regular apothecaries. Where are you going, Tactical Marines? Fall back! You've gone too far. And something else. This is just not a great time for them. Whole squad about to be wiped out. Dear oh dear, now is the time to strike for the Chaos Space Marines. You now have that number advantage, but actually, Swift Devastators, along with a couple of Hellfire Dreadnoughts coming over here. They've seen the Machine Pit, which is going for a Chaos Vindicator. So there's a damn fine amount of damage against a infantry heavy composition. Over off in the distance as well, a squad of Havocs going up against the Listing Post, which a Dreadnought will be coming over to sort them out, but I mean, the Havoc Marines have got some missile launchers. I don't think that the Hellfire Dreadnought is necessarily going to be the best customer to deal with them. Machine Pit been focused by the chaplain, but this is a bad job. You've killed Listing Post, well done, but get out of there ASAP. Chaos Space Marines also doing the same over on this side, so tit for tat really. So I say that, you know, this matchup we don't really see multiple prongs of attacks, but you know what, ignore me. They all cast a curse, you say something won't happen, and then it will happen. Maybe I should try and make that a thing. What can I say that would be really cool that would happen? We are not going to see the Chaos Space Marines get Titans out. We are not going to see a Titan on Titan fight. There we go. Now that I've said that it won't happen, it will happen. Or maybe now I've just double bluffed myself. But now that I've said that I've double bluffed myself, maybe I won't. Ah, you see how it works? Who knows really how this game works? All knows that this chaplain is chasing around these cultists. Going too far forward once again, and he gets killed very quickly. Chaos Vindicator goes in for a flanking maneuver, but gets shot up very quickly. Now, potentially moving down in the centre. They've got that critical location for Stranger. And at the moment, lots of fights going on. Devastators and Hellfire Dreadnoughts on the left. Same kind of story on the right as well. Chaos Space Marines seem to be focusing a lot more on their heavy infantry rather than vehicles. And would it be an idea for some rhinos either side just to help fend off fighting forces in a quicker manner? That would be my thinkings. That would be my thinkings indeed. Going to see a tier 2/3 for the Force of Chaos. Going to see replacement chaplain for the loyalists. And sniper training for Y. Do you have snipers somewhere? don't think you... Have you got... Oh, you have got some scouts left. But why? Is that just to kill the cultists? Snipe out the cultist builders, maybe? No. This is... I mean, interesting. You could break morale, but the Chaos Space Marine's morale is like 1,350. That is no small amount of morale to break through. Thermal Plasma Generator is annihilated, and the Chaos Space Marines will have an advantage in the Green Money department now, but that being said, their Thermal Plasma Generator is also looking a little bit more vulnerable. Alpha Dreadnought taken down. Grenade, oh, that's a stun grenade actually. Stop these guys from being all that useful in a firefight. Well, they don't need to be that useful because I've got so many guns firing. That's okay, they can spare a few. And now it just seems like one long line across the battlefield. Strangers just keeping formation. The relic listening post goes down once again. Chaplain now joining the scouts. Scouts are going for some sniper rifles. And again, I don't see what the sniper rifles are going to do here, but Demi is a smart man. He's a man qualified to make these decisions of where the Chaos Space Marine is going. You're falling back into a dead end. And while you probably have the numerical advantage if you get all your lads over, it'll be quite a long walk for them to come round. Got frag grenades thrown towards the Devastators. Get two full squads of Chaos Space Marines and a Chaos Lord cut off from life. Cuts off from half and home. But the Space Marines not taking advantage of that. They're just going to start pushing into the base instead. A couple of shots off at the listening post, which I get it makes sense. Harass the economy, but if you could take out a good chunk of the army, that'll definitely pay dividends for the fight that is to come. And now being collapsed on from multiple angles. Chaos Space Marines charging into close combat. Devastators opening fire across all the dreadnoughts that they can. Got some Devastators on the right hand side there. Doing a little bit of damage, but that's fine. They've got the numbers. And an absolute chaotic fight breaking out. Close combat encounters. Close quarters firefights. One last Hellfire Dreadnought standing up at the moment. But it does seem... I mean, it's hard to tell, really. The numbers are still quite even at the moment. Aspiring Champion in the middle. Getting slapped in the face by Tactical Marine. And it looks like... It's hard to tell, but it seems like the Space Marines are standing a little bit firm. The Devastators opening fire, but all it'll take is these Chaos Space Marines to engage in close combat to take away their ranged advantage. Focusing down on the Hellfire Dreadnought as best they can, but there's always another one ready and willing to come out and replace it. Can't kill them quick enough to keep them offline. But these Havocs, man, they are not going down. These heavy infantry squads standing up against all the incoming damage. But the Chaos Space Marines having to fall back. As the Blood Angels, are you Blood Angels? Question mark. You are indeed Blood Angels. Blood Angels striding on forward. Thankfully now the Havocs can stand in a more defensive posture. Grenades been thrown either side, everyone being stunned. Blinding light cast across everything. Smoke grenades, not sure whose smoke grenades they are, but they're going to be providing some covering bonuses for whoever's inside them. Devastator's attempting to focus down one squad at a time. And these protracted heavy infantry engagements are all about positioning. They take a very long time to happen. Combat that happens at glacial speeds. There's plenty of it might not seem like there's a lot of micro going on in it. It almost feels like as if they just air moved into each other and it's just army to army slapping cheeks all day long, but no, there's actually a lot of minor details and actions being taken. Like, say, for example, this Chaos Lord taking care of the Devastators on the far distant sides. Grenades being thrown at very particular squads that are able to fire away. Also got people being deep stricken in as well, which is one benefit that the Space Marines have. Oh no, these are Chaos Space Marines, Possessed Marines with their wet noodle arms ready to slap and get between the crevices of the Ceramite armor of those Devastators. And the Space Marines did hold on and were looking like they were going to be the aggressors forevermore, but that's one thing. You always think it's going to go one way, but it goes completely the other direction. Just by these guys being able to hold on, and... But why? Why did you give up then, Demi? What was the purpose in that? You had much more to give. I didn't even realise that there was like a limit of time on that. I thought that this game was going to be quite a long one, but no. Just giving up. You had so much more to give. You had your Hellfire Dreadnoughts that were still quite doing a significant amount of damage. Now, I don't know how much economy you had, but I imagine your economy was quite substantial. He did lose a lot of his fighting forces in that engagement, but you can just rebuild them. You are allowed to do that. That's kind of how the RTSs work. But I mean, like I said, Demi's a smart man. He's been around the block. He probably knows something was afoot, and I'm not aware of it. So, who knows? Maybe you could tell me in the comments why you think the Space Marines decided to turn tail and run. But there we go. So, so cheers, stranger, for sending that game into the Discord. And if you want to support the channel, have a look at the old Patreon. £1 a month gets you one game a week, and there's also Discord where Discord things happen. Links in the description as always. As been Mr. Shark, pleasure's always never short, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace.